Good evening and welcome to the Brain Trust. What makes a great movie? How can we make movies better? And how can studios protect their massive investments from overinflated idealism of the talent they hire to star in their films? Joining me as always is Placeholder and Cassie. Placeholder is out for a few minutes. And if you have any ideas or want to join in the conversation, let us know. We are always watching the side chat. Anyway, Cassie, what makes a great movie for you?
Um, the storyline, the makeup,
I should have
always the
seen that.
makeup. If you could make your makeup believable, you got me. And actually, a lot of films nowadays don't. They don't.
Like Star Trek, look, here I'm not a makeup guy, but the makeup in Star Trek bothered me.
Yes.
I was like, dear God, that man's wearing makeup. When you can tell that the men are wearing makeup, like that, you shouldn't be able to tell that. Like, you put on the makeup so the camera picks them up better.
Yeah.
Like, they're not supposed to look like they're wearing makeup, though.
Yeah.
Oh man, they laid it on thick. It was rough.
Yeah. I mean, I, I like good gore makeup. Like I get it if you're doing the aliens and all that, but like if you are having a fight scene and I can sit there and I can see the fake bruises that you've put on this person, and I'm going, you need to blend. Blend, motherfucker. Blend. You know?
Yes. But beyond that, I think for me it's always character development. I like well written characters. They don't even have to develop. If they are a well developed character as an introductory character, like the wise old guru that no one ever listens to,
Always fun.
you know. But the only way that that character works is if, like I said, they're never listened to. Like they're a side plot character. You know, the Rosencrantz and Guildensterns. Well, maybe that's a terrible example. But anyway, I just watched that the other night with Gary Oldman. That's what, by the way, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern was what inspired the whole what makes a great movie,
Yeah.
because it is a really interesting, like mind-bogglingly good, like the sixth time you watch it movie. It's like the time you get it, you're like, okay, okay, I got it.
Yeah. I mean, good character development, always good, you know, especially in the modern days of Hollywood currently, which gets me more frustrated than anybody. When indie films are so much better than Hollywood movies. What does that tell you?
It tells me that Hollywood's. I don't know. There's a lot of reasons that movies are bad, and I think we should probably, if we're gonna look at how to make movies better, we should look at both sides of it.
Yeah.
You know, and one of the things I think that makes movies really bad is when they're written with an algorithm. Like take the Spider-Man. There's Sam Raimi Spider-Man series, for example.
Yeah.
First one, costuming was terrible. It was so campy, it was ridiculous, but it kind of worked
Yeah.
because it was so campy, it was ridiculous. And it was like, okay, yeah, I'll take it. It was a good movie. It wasn't terrible.
Yeah.
And it kind of started the whole let's do superhero movies thing.
Mm.
But yeah, so blame it for what you will. But then the second one came out and they tried a couple of new things. They were like, let's see what happens when Peter loses his mask in front of a whole bunch of people. And it happened. And everybody loved it. So they're like, all right, what else did people like from the second movie? What did they like from the first movie? And then they took those elements and they wrote them all in a bunch of series and they were like, let's make them happen over and over again and then somehow connect them. And we'll call that the third movie.
Then we'll get Willem Dafoe to say to Peter Parker, I'm something of a scientist myself. Sorry. Anyway, so I think one of the things that makes a good movie and what makes a movie really, really bad at the same time, how real is the movie? Am I able to completely remove myself from reality and engross myself in this atmosphere, this construct that I am enjoying for the next 90 to 180 minutes? It's like a good and bad video game. If the atmosphere is not there, it's just not going to be enjoyable.
Yeah, but for me, I've never been able to actually like filter that because of the work I do. I can never be truly engrossed in a movie.
Well,
Well,
sure, it's just like why physicists can't really enjoy superhero movies.
let me ask you, have you seen, Cassie, have you seen Battlefield Los Angeles?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you're looking at alien makeup
Mm-hmm. I
and
am looking.
you're getting obsessed with it. That's probably a bad example for you then. No, I was gonna say that's a movie that does it really well as far as engrosses you.
Yeah,
Um, yeah,
but
well done.
even the
But
makeup's off in it, though, it drove me insane. That is one of those movies that I'm like, if you can't put a prosthetic on correctly, stop trying. Just give up. Sorry, but yeah, that is my critique.
okay, well, I mean, I think they did a good job. They had to shoot the things, so of course they're exploding.
True.
Anyway, back to what makes films great. Engrossing. Yeah, I'll give that one a thumbs up. Um, so I saw Captain America and I really liked it. It was a good movie. There were only a couple points that irritated me. And I think that one of the things that really kills a movie is a big-mouthed actor.
It's
Like
for the same
totally.
reason. Well, like it's for the same reason that a lot of people are pissed off at Dave Bautista for the whole like I'm not going to be Drax unless James Gunn is going to be the director.
Like,
Now,
dude, seriously, you're Drax. Okay, fine. You're not going to be Drax. Well, you were Drax for Infinity War. I guess the paycheck was big enough.
right?
Get back to work, actor. Sorry. No, no,
He's
that's it.
also like
I'm sorry.
started appearing on WWE stuff again, so
That
maybe.
is that is his coworker. So, you know,
Yeah.
and I guess sort of boss, mentor, friend, Like, yeah, I'll give him that. Still, I mean, I think it was silly to fire James Gunn.
Yeah, or a joke he made. It's the same thing. It's not the
It's the
same
same.
thing.
Well, it's very similar to the. It's very similar to a lot of other crap that's been like Kevin Hart.
Well, I was gonna say like Dracula getting arrested over a joke, or that guy in Canada getting arrested over a joke and losing their jobs and their employment prospect. It's
Yeah,
just we do that in the States without the government.
yeah. I think that's it's ridiculous. It's kind of silly. And no, I think James Gunn should direct it. He's a hell of a director. He took a useless Marvel property and turned it into a multi-billion-dollar property,
No.
or a multi-million-dollar property. I think, isn't it?
Can he do more than just Guardians?
I don't know. I think he just did Guardians.
No,
Either way, either way, he's a hell of a director, and
Oh yeah,
he's crazy or whatever. But let him direct a movie.
he's a good director. That's his
crazy people
job.
crazy people make good directors. I'm sorry, but they do.
Yeah. Well, anyway, um, it, I don't know. Call it what you will, but I think a good director makes a good movie. I
Yeah.
think attention to detail makes a good movie.
Mm-hmm.
Stanley Kubrick is like the director.
Yeah.
He's that shit crazy.
Yeah, he wanted people in the state of mind that he wanted them to look like they were in for the movie. Like if you weren't a method actor, he'd beat it into you. He's like, you're supposed to look tired in this, so we're gonna shoot it again. And
157 times.
yeah. And you're not going to get much water or food the whole time because I need you to stay in character.
I just imagine that like he's standing there behind the camera with a hanger, like, I will beat you if you do not get it right. I imagine it'd be a lot like working for oh god, what's his name? Not John Carpenter. Oh, he'd be cool to work for too. Oh fuck, man, George Romero.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think a strict director doesn't necessarily make a great movie, though. I like Kubrick's films. I just don't think they're the best. I think that there are a lot better films out there.
I'm gonna tie you down to a chair.
I've seen them. I've seen it. I don't want to end up all Clockwork Oranged out, man.
Oh no! I'll just tie you up
exactly where
and
you
pry
go
your
with
eyes
that.
open like they did to Alex with the eye drops every 45 minutes. And
Yeah,
just make you watch 2001 on repeat.
Yeah. No, I like Kubrick's films. Don't get me wrong. Definitely top 50. None of them are in my top 10.
That's fair. 2001's in my top 10.
Yeah, dude. What's the guy's Guy Ritchie? I love his work. Great director.
Mm.
But
I will actually have to do that.
still not top 10. Yeah, if you haven't seen Guy Ritchie's collection, go look up the Guy Ritchie collection and watch them all. Brad Pitt doing the Irish accent was amazing.
That was yeah.
Oh.
Now, in terms of like protecting properties from their actors, I think one of the first off, it's really sad. It's a really sad state of affairs when the studio needs protection from the talent they hire. I think if they were to essentially just be like, the comments are not representative of us, they're welcome to say whatever they want, I think that would be a decent arrangement. I think that would be at least tolerable for most people. But let's say you get like a Pee Wee Herman situation, you know, or you get, oh god, what was his name? Or James Gunn, because technically I would count directors as part of their talent.
I think Marvel handled that in a really like tactical way.
Oh, they did it like they pandered. It was pandering.
Yeah, and I disagreed with it when they did it, and I thought it was silly. And I was like, no, he shouldn't get fired. But
I think disassociating from the private lives of the people that you hire, including their social media, really should be like at the top of the policy changing list if we're going to suggest things like that. Because if the people that you hire are not able to speak, they're not going to be as effective at their job as they would be otherwise.
Yeah, well, I think anybody with the blue check mark that's an actor or actress generally knows the dangers of acting like a fool on Twitter. Hopefully. But it's in those open conferences where they say stupid stuff. And that's what happened to Brie Larson. I think if Brie had probably stepped aside and said to her agent, whoever was there to talk to, and said, "Hey, could we diversify the media pool a little bit? I hope I don't have to." Instead of saying that in front of the media pool, probably would have been better.
Well, I mean, it's not like she said anything bad. All she said is, "I would rather speak with." I'm not going to remove people from the pool. I just want to add these people to the pool as well. And
yeah,
I know that she might not have communicated that very well because actors are not known for their brains. That's the essence of what was said. I don't
what
understand.
she wanted to say, then yeah, by all means. But like that's still a matter for her and the people who set up the press pool. Like, hey, let's step aside. Let's have a conversation about this before the press pool happens. I noticed that this keeps happening, and I want it changed. Can you add some women? Can you add some minorities? Can you add some this? Can you add some of that? I want a Dolphin over there with the scribble pad, and I'll show up, Brie. I'll show up. But no, seriously, just talk to people off the camera, off the record, not in front of a bunch of microphones. Don't stand up in front of a bunch of people and be ignorant about who movies are made for. Movies are made for whoever pays for them.
Yeah.
Okay, the people who pay for the tickets, who go out and buy the DVDs, that's who the movies are made for. Don't fool yourself. It's not made for a demographic. It's made for a little green piece of paper. That's what it's made for. And who can bring. Yeah, we're hosting Open Link, by the way. If anyone wants to come in.
Yeah.
Yeah, movies are made for a little green piece of paper. Don't talk about who movies are made for. Yeah. I think when you go back to older celebrities and actors and actresses, they don't really understand the power of this technology. Back in their day, they could say something and it might reach half their audience. Nowadays, it reaches all of their audience, and then everybody that ever hated their audience and knew their audience and heard about them, and the people who heard about the people who heard about them, and so forth and so on. Social media is a nightmare.
Yeah.
And
Part of the
in
reason
the chat, Wakozako brings up an actually really good point. Roseanne Barr, first off, disclaimer. What Roseanne said was really stupid.
Yeah.
She should not have said it on her personal Twitter. And a word of advice. If you're going to do something stupid or say something stupid or racist or whatever, get a sock account. Just get a sock account. You can say whatever stupid nonsense you want to say.
Well,
However,
can't reach as many people like that, you know?
Well, do you want to have a job or do you want to be able to speak your mind?
No, get the sock account and retweet.
I agree that if you're gonna be going crazy on like pills like Roseanne was or claims to have, and then come around and say, well, oh, it was just the drugs, then yeah, definitely. If you have some like weird, tick where you go on and say some stupid shit and end your career, I think it probably would be a good idea to probably just do that on an account that nobody knows about.
I mean, if you're going to think about the PC, though, because technically if I got into the movie career with my makeup artistry, I have to be careful. And I can't do that because I have a mouth and I don't like to be quiet.
I think if we were to get over this stupid moral panic, we could actually have much better art.
Exactly.
I think that there's going to be a whole culture of celebrities and people that are going to be fueled by I think the, anti-hero / the kind of bad boys of the industry. You know what I mean?
That's not a new thing.
No, I'm not saying it's a new thing. I'm saying I think that it's something that you're going to see more and more, especially when, like you guys are mentioning, like great directors like James Gunn are getting, shut down because of, shit that they said
10 years ago.
Also, keep in mind, they could have known, you know what I mean? They could have just done this research. Why did they not like go through this guy's shit beforehand? And so I apologize for saying for cursing.
No, it's not too bad. But go ahead.
Yeah, that's something that someone pointed out is that why didn't they knew that he was, a bad boy. Why didn't they,
They probably knew, and they were like, look, we really just want you for the movie. Try to keep your head low and don't do anything stupid or crazy. And if you notice, he kind of didn't. He became kind of normal after that. Everything they dug up on him was from a while ago. So, I mean, the guy's... I'm all for people changing. And he, like I said, he took a worthless property and he made it worth millions.
Absolutely. And that's all they care about. They'll throw him to the fucking lions once, Once, you know what I mean, they get their money.
No, I think that
They are Nero stroking their lyre as Rome burns.
I think they should hire him back, and I think that's who should direct Guardians 3. You know what they should do? Hold on. Here's what they should do. They should hold a blind test and rig it so that he wins it. So like they have no idea who they're picking, but they accidentally pick him. Like, oh, it was a lottery and he got it. Oh, look at that.
And I imagine every like upset SJW just sits back in their chair and goes, whack.
Yeah, no, yeah, no. It's like we know that because of the culture, especially, you know what I mean, with cancel culture, outrage culture, and you know the existence of sites like BuzzFeed. You know, these creators who are problematic or who have had problematic pasts and what have you aren't going to ever have a voice. Cancel culture scares the fuck out of me because you can't just erase somebody's art just because the person behind it wasn't the best. That's terrifying.
Yeah, who are you, Savonarola?
Yeah.
Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody fucks up. Everybody does something stupid. That's life. You know?
Yeah, well,
I would love to go through these, you know, these people who do the cancel culture and shit. You go through their life, and I'll give you an example of someone who I personally know who, like, I used to be like really best friends with them, and they were all about cancel culture, and we would always talk about it. They were like fucked in the head. They had some real dark issues and shit, and they would come to me and say, "Oh yeah, you know." Like, oh yeah, cancel culture. This person needs to be canceled. You know, get him out of here. Get him out of here. These people are bad, but I'm so much better. And I'm like,
it's almost like
what?
Scientologists, you know? They're
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
oh, it's a suppressive person. We gotta kick them out of everything. Yeah, it's actually, yeah, it's very cult-like attitude. Definitely. Placeholder, are you still here?
Nope.
Oh,
Yeah, it's scary. Honestly, it's terrifying. It freaks me out. Like, but I don't know. Like, I think that's why I think this kind of anti-culture is something that I think will be on the rise more and more when you see people. I mean, who
have to
get thrown
start
under the bus.
teaching about how the Renaissance ended. Yeah, well, see, there was the big plague, yeah, but like as a result of the plague, the people went crazy and burned a vast majority of the Renaissance art. So we actually don't have a vast majority of the greatest art ever produced.
Well, these kind of people are the kind of people who cancel everything that they don't agree with. So chances are they probably canceled that and they don't remember it.
Well, yeah, back then it was a crazy Christian monk, but you know, today it's the crazy left monks of the leftist cult. It's a social justice cult, I should say. Maybe they're not lefties. Maybe some of them favor the right. I don't know, but
some are right, and it's on both sides.
The idea that you can just erase history, like, it's terrible. You're terrible people. Like, archaeologists are gonna have to come and fix what you screwed up one day.
Apologize to the plants whose hard work you're squandering.
Yeah, and the layers of earth that are gonna get removed to no, I'm going to.
It's just it's scary stuff, and I don't think that anyone who likes somebody who is. I mean, like, here's the thing. I'll give you an example. I don't support domestic abuse. I don't support sexual misconduct. I mean, I don't support any of that stuff. However, I love people like, you know, John Lennon, David Bowie, XXXTentacion, Lucy Kay. You know, these people who, if you look into their past, you know, were problematic. John Lennon beat his wife, but people still sing along to Hey Jude, you know? David Bowie beat his wife, and, you know, he's a legend. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And cancel culture, you cannot look at the life that these people have made for themselves and completely cut them out just because of the things that they did. And I'm not saying that what they did was good.
Yeah, Bob Marley
But
beat his wife too.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Yep. He
Yeah.
also had
And his children.
many affairs.
Yeah, he cheated on her a lot.
Oh God, it sounds like my father.
But he always came back to her. And like he always claimed that he loved her the most. And like in interviews, he would always talk about her and, you know, above everybody else. He would never talk about any other women. But in the end, yeah, he was all over the place.
Yeah, but all of them are. But you look at these people though, and the things that they've done, and the legacy that they've made, and it's all, you know, peace and opposite of the things that they did. And you can't look at these, you know, things and say, oh yeah, well,
crucify them for one mistake.
I'm gonna cancel that, and I'm gonna listen to my Cardi B and ABBA. I'm so gay, I love it.
Yeah, I saw a cartoon way back when, well, no, I was still an adult then. It was a long time ago though. And it had this, like, this kid was talking to this dog, and he was like, I can't take it anymore. That's the last straw. And the dog's like, well, what? And he's like, you know, he goes through this list of cartoon characters, and he was like, the only one I have left is, you know, all these people have been caught up in like all these different scandals. And he was like, I have no one else that I can trust except, wait, there's always Big Bird. And the dog's like, should I tell him? And the next panel is like a picture of Big Bird with like some old guy in his underwear, like drinking a beer and his hands up in the beak. It's like a cutaway of Big Bird.
It sounds like
it reminds me.
Yeah, and it's like at the end of the day, everybody's a creep in some way.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the point. Like everybody has something that's like that they've done wrong or that they feel bad about, or you know, everybody makes mistakes.
If we're gonna talk about politics in regards to this cancel culture, you should cancel the entirety of every fucking politician because they're all corrupt. They're all fucking scummy.
I also get irritated by the argument, and I know we're a bit off topic from movies, but I also get irritated by the argument that anecdote is not evidence. It's not. Well, history is evidence, and history is pretty much pure anecdote. No, every bit of history is gathered from anecdote except history gathered from evidence drawn from archaeology. I know you're going to say, go look at the written record. Who wrote it? My question is always going to be, who wrote it? Because
the survivors.
Somebody's perspective is what that was written from. And that person is going to write from their perspective. And I don't say that they're wrong. I'm not calling them liars. I'm just saying that all of recorded history is written from some person's perspective saying, I was there, this is what I saw. That's all an anecdote. Every single piece of history that we have that's written down is an anecdote. And so, therefore, anecdotes are evidence because that's what history is made of. It's made of people telling their stories and saying, I was there, this is what happened. And we put all these pieces together and we call it history. So, yes, anecdote is evidence. That's my argument for why anecdote is evidence.
If I may.
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Depends on what kind of evidence we're actually. It depends on what kind of evidence we're actually talking about. The evidence there is a specific defined, like agreed upon definition of what evidence is consisted of. It depends on what context we're discussing that evidence. Anecdotes do not make evidence. It's just like way off topic. It's just like with people who argue that anecdotes are evidence of God. Sorry,
yeah, we're going way out.
I'm just sitting here. I'm gonna listen to him talk. That's what I
Go ahead.
It's essentially like
how big was the fish? therefore it is true does not convince
How
another
big was the
person.
fish? It was this big.
Well,
How big was the fish? It was this big. How big was the fish? It was a whale and it swallowed him up.
Here's the thing. About evidence, and this is what people mistake when I think a lot about the word evidence. The word evidence does not constitute the concept of proof. It only consists of the concept of evidence. Here is evidence of what could be.
You may want to tell the United States justice system then.
Oh no, they have that whole like evidence is used to establish whether or not there is a consistent doubt of guilt.
You may also want to tell the scientific community.
Yeah, they know that. They actually, like, the scientific community works to disprove their theories. That's exactly the way that I love to think, is like, I could be wrong about everything I know. You should think that way. You should think that, yeah, what I know is what I've been taught. That doesn't necessarily make it real. You should question what you know.
To insinuate that evidence and proof are separate.
They are.
They're not.
Why do they have different words? I know that's a semantic argument and it sounds kind of goofy, but think about it. They are literally, they're very similar. I'll give you that. Like one
the existence of the word proof and the existence of the word evidence does not necessarily mean that they are two entirely separate concepts.
Okay.
Proof, mathematical proof, is an entirely different thing. Therefore, we have that word. The way that it functions in math also functions pretty well in general conversation, as well as using it to establish an overarching narrative that is consistent and logically sound. Evidence is just the umbrella term that includes proof and several other things.
I present to you case exhibit A. A man goes on leave with the Navy, comes back from leave a year later. His wife has a 3-month-old baby. She claims it's his, but it looks like his, and so forth. The problem is, she and him were fighting before he left. They didn't sleep together for the last month that they were together. And so the timing is a bit off. And he's just confused about it. So he asked for a paternity test. The paternity test comes back 99.5% positive. But at this point, they're in court. And they've gotten a divorce over this huge fight that they're having. And, you know, they both gotten lawyers, and it's gotten pretty nasty. So 99.5% in his state doesn't necessarily constitute proof, but the judge thinks it does. Anyway, he begins paying child support. That 99.5% DNA, you would argue, was evidence, right?
Okay, if you
would you argue that the DNA test is evidence?
I would argue
in that case.
Okay, so I need to get this whole statement out before you interrupt me. It can function as evidence or proof. They are interchangeable synonyms.
But it's not proof. It's just evidence.
It can serve as proof.
No, it's not. Because later affidavits from the man's brother said that he slept with the woman, but he didn't have a job, so she was suing his brother for child support. His brother, by the way, his twin brother, had the 99.5% match, and when the DNA tested him, it was a beyond 99.9% match.
Okay.
So that evidence,
I need to clarify,
is like the first evidence is evidence. Yes, it was evidence, but it didn't actually prove anything. The scientific community does not consider evidence proof. That's why everything is a theory and nothing is a fact. There's no such thing as a scientific fact.
I am going to stop that right now. No.
No. Okay. There is no such thing as
anything that is below a theory is hypothesis. Anything that is theory is essentially irrefutable fact.
Well, no,
the theory of gravity is fact.
It's not essentially irrefutable fact. A lot of people say, okay,
the Earth is flat. Let's be real here.
There are generally accepted theories like gravity, and like nobody's going to question it unless you just want to spend the rest of your life trying to raise money from flat earthers. Good luck. But nobody really wants to question the unquestioned, I guess you call them irrefutable, the generally unquestioned theories. But everything else is recognized as a theory, and you can challenge them all at any point. And they all have been challenged. People's lives have been threatened for challenging scientific theory and proving it wrong. Think about
It's
that.
been the case ever since science was first
Exactly.
started.
And so when you sit there and you say, no, this science fact cannot be questioned, and somebody comes along and says, no, we have to question it, and you say, burn them at the cross, you kind of sound like the Pope arguing against Galileo. I'm sorry. Like,
That's
I'm not
what I
saying that
said. First
I'm not
off,
saying
what
the
I said,
scientist is wrong. I'm just saying, let him prove he's wrong.
okay. So let's just for a moment,
because you can prove you're wrong in science. That is possible. You just can't prove you're right.
So this is going to, for me, this is a thing that I really, anytime I get the opportunity to explain the difference, I do. Okay. A scientific theory is based on evidence and fact. It has a good amount of evidence that is essentially established. And I say essentially because there is no 100%. You have to leave room for error. That's why I'm 99.9% sure this is the case. A hypothesis, however, is how we would colloquially use the term theory. It is not based in fact. It is based in essentially a question. A scientific theory is scientific fact.
An hypothesis is no longer an hypothesis once it's been peer-reviewed and retested and proved beyond an hypothesis in a separate lab by a contesting scientist.
Sure,
so
and in order
but that theory, from that point on, the more it gets tested, the more established it becomes. So the more you question the theory, here's the thing: if you hail a theory, if you think a theory is absolutely you're 100% behind it, and there are a bunch of people who aren't, fund them to disprove it. Fund them, because every time they fail to disprove it, you have it more well established as being a more well established theory. Go ahead, give them the money to disprove it. Say, here's your money. Go to show me in a scientific lab. Here's all the resources you need. Disprove the theory that I stand behind. I will
Let's
help
be real
you.
here. Let's be real here. All that money would probably go into someone's pocket.
Yeah, just smoke meth on the side of the street.
Hey, speaking of, and we're gonna re-roll this back.
Every time
TV
I see your
movies.
avatar, I think of Breaking Bad and
Yeah,
Jesse
what do you
in the
think?
car.
What do you think of Better Call Saul? You said you were gonna watch it.
I haven't gotten the chance. Yet.
It's so good, dude.
But yeah, I think planning goes a long way into a good movie.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. And yeah, Captain Marvel did not suffer from bad planning. They had it really well planned out. I'm going to give them props on this. Most misleading trailer of the year. That should be an award, a People's Choice Award, because I love a good misleading trailer. If I go into a trailer excited about a movie, but like thinking one thing and get that completely wrapped around in my head by the movie, I'm going to be like, that was awesome. I liked that trailer. That was a good trailer.
Oh man, I want a trailer that doesn't give me the entire movie.
I want a trailer
that doesn't just essentially like, what is it, the Rick and Morty, where it's like, two brothers, you give the entire film within this like short, trailer.
Yeah.
And it's like, there was one trailer I saw exactly where they actually show the end of the movie in the trailer. And I just sat there going, I don't need to watch that movie. I just saw it.
Yeah, what was that, Titanic?
Oh God, I don't remember what it was.
Oh no, they didn't give the end of that one in the trailer. Everybody knew.
There was one, I think they were probably doing it just to fuck around, but it was the theatrical trailer for A Phantom of the Paradise, where they literally tell you the entire fucking movie. It literally is like it shows scenes from like every part of the movie until the end, in which he dies at the end, and it's like, yeah, why do I have to go watch the movie now? If here's the thing, I'll say this: Hitchcock did this perfectly. He walks around the set and he tells you in each different way how the characters die, what happens in the movie, and he walks around, and this is the trailer to, I think it was Psycho, and it was so brilliant though, you know what I mean, the way that he did it, and the way that he does it in such a way that makes you want to see the movie. Some reverse psychology, it's something that really, it's out of the ordinary. But with these other trailers, it's just like, let's just literally give them the entire movie within like 2 minutes.
All right, so survival ones then. Do you want to, anybody got a way to survival of the fittest? Awesome.
I got who I have.
Oh, I'm Missed Aircraft. What's up, Aircraft Sparky? I haven't seen you in a while.
Yep. I around.
One of the and that's actually interesting. So the Lego Movie is actually a really good. I haven't seen it all the way through. I have seen breakdowns and analysis of the movie, however, and technically, in terms of the actual cinematography, the angles, the scaling of everything, writing, even though it's a kids' movie, is actually a technically sound movie.
Yeah, because the directors are the same guys who did 21 Jump Street, and they done a bunch of other films. They're really great.
Yeah, I loved it. I wanted to go home immediately and like grab my smartphone and like kick my kids out of their room for like 28 hours or something. Like, I was like, I could do that. I can make a Lego movie.
You can also have a technically sound movie that turns bad.
Yeah.
Personally, I can't think of one off the top of my head. In terms of just bad movies that are so bad that they are good, The Room.
Oh yeah.
That's the first one that springs to mind. The Room is a terrible movie.
It is
it's a good, terrible movie. Everything about it is so badly done. It's like it was done on purpose.
Here's one thing I will say, and I've always said this, is that when Tommy Wiseau made The Room, he started the so bad it's good genre for I say like probably the 2000s generation, and however Neil Breen perfected it. Are you guys aware of the Neil Breen films? There's a series of films by a director by the name of Neil Breen, and each one of them is pretty much the same film. Probably the best one to watch is called Fateful Findings, and it's like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like essentially if he had written this epic story while on acid, and then he ripped up the script and then re-put it together.
So like Memorial, what was it? Memorial or
I don't know.
The movie that's where the guy forgets every 10 minutes.
No, it's like essentially if this dude, like, essentially you have like 5 different plot lines going on all at once. None of it makes sense. The pacing is horrible. The acting is horrible. The set is like the set design's horrible. Are
you attempting to waste my time?
God.
Are you purposefully trying to talk me into wasting my life?
Oh yeah, no,
like
I say
hours of my life.
Yeah, no, it is worth.
I mean, is it so bad? Like
so bad it's good. Like,
is it like Cannibal the Musical good?
Okay, yeah. Let me give an example. Okay, he goes to his doctor to up his prescription, and then he leaves, and then in the next scene he goes to a psychiatrist. But it's the same guy in the same fucking room, but the only thing they did was change his suit.
Okay.
And it's like, it's an experience to behold. If we're going to talk about so bad it's good movies, that is one that I think everyone needs to put at the top of their list.
I don't know. I think I don't know. So bad it's good. I'd have to go with the Evil Dead.
Oof. Army of
It-
Darkness, man. If we're gonna go
No,
Evil Dead,
no,
just
no.
go full on Army of Darkness.
Army of Darkness was actually so good it was good movie.
No,
Army
I
of
love
Darkness?
Bruce Campbell.
Like that
Any
was when
Bruce Campbell
that was
movie. I know
full
he wasn't in the
embrace.
first one. Any Bruce Campbell movie is going to get an automatic approval from me. No, he wasn't in the first one. I know he wasn't in the remake. And it was said earlier on this topic, any movie that does not need to be remade is a good movie.
Yes.
Like, I would never want Psycho to be remade, even though Vince Vaughn did a shot-for-shot remake of it for some reason.
No, there are a lot of films that don't need to be remade, but they're being remade or have been remade.
Yes. Please
Like
stop.
there's like it's just essentially anything that they can like get their hands on, they'll remake. For example, probably one of my favorite films of all time, which is Clue with Tim Curry.
Oh man, I was gonna mention that earlier. I was gonna talk about breaking the fourth wall as a studio. You totally, you son of a, you're not allowed in any more of our DMs. All right. You're out, dude. Streaming and everything.
Oh God.
Son of a bitch. I was amped. I was like sitting there thinking about Clue. I was like, 100%.
It's such a great movie. I love
you
it.
know when they made that, they sent out 3 different versions to every studio randomly.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite
people
things.
came out of the people came out of the movie like not like they were like, so I saw Clue this weekend. Oh, I did too. Where'd you see it? I saw it at this theater. Oh, I saw mine at this theater. Were you surprised? Yeah, I can't believe so and so did it. What? That's not what happened. So and so did it. It took like people weeks to catch on.
And then like they do, and then when you watch it, on like DVD or whatever.
Yeah, you just pick a random ending.
Like, yeah, that or the one where it's like it does the montage. It's like this is how how it could have happened, but here's how it really happened. But anyways, with Clue though. You know what? We just started talking about it. I completely forgot my original point I was gonna make with Clue. Yeah. They're trying to remake it.
Are they really?
There's rumors that they're trying to remake it. You can't do that.
Tim Curry's too old for it.
No, just Hollywood.
I'm sure they can get a crazy person from Hollywood to do it. And if they pick the right person to play Tim Curry's role, you're gonna love it.
Oh man, they did technically do a spoof of Clue, and it's a very obscure thing that I ended up finding on accident, and it's called Clue Junior. But however, they have various different references to the original Clue. It's just I think Clue Junior is actually a thing for like kids. It's like a board game / book series, and they made a live action movie for the Hub channel. And back when the Hub channel was still alive, and it didn't get merged by Discovery, and it's really weird because, like I said, they make a lot of references, almost shot for shot in some cases, to Clue. Like they run around and the joke is who done it, that, or they think they make a couple of jokes that were probably too fucking adult for kids because like they probably like made a reference to like like the prostitution or something like that, and it's like, oh, that's a little edgy.
I like the fourth wall break from the studio aspect of it, like when they're literally messing with the audience to that degree. But I like to see that in films too. I like characters that break the fourth wall. I don't think it should be done in every movie, but the occasional fourth wall break is nice.
See, one of the things for a good movie that I think we haven't really been considering too much is the concept even good?
Yeah, has it been done?
Well, not even if it's been done. Is it a good idea? So there's this comic book that I really like. It's called The Amory Wars. It's written by Claudio Sanchez, who's the lead singer of Coheed and Cambria. They're trying to make a movie out of it, which I think would be amazing, considering the sheer wealth of lore that's available for them to utilize. However, there's some really hokey things in the story. And there's some weird fourth wall breaks, and there's this weird Don Quixote structure to it that I don't think would translate well to film. So whether or not the movie we're talking about should be set to film or should be animated, something that really needs to be considered as well.
Yeah,
Like
animation
a comic
is.
book movie might do better animated, but might not be as well received. So let's say we got the Avengers animated instead of the Avengers live action like we got.
That would
I
have
feel
that
like we would not
probably
have had
it
the
would
same
have
reaction because Marvel's animation studio is not as good as DC's.
it would have gone under. Not gone under, but it would have gone kind of under the radar with the
It
other
wouldn't
like.
have hit as big.
Yeah, it probably would have hit with the. It'd probably end up in the category of like those DC films, like the Justice. They're like 4 Justice League cartoon films. I think they're all based on the TV show.
I mean, Marvel does have an animation studio, and they do crank out animation. I don't think they've done it in a while, but I mean,
Yeah,
my
but
kid,
Phineas
my
and
kid
Ferb,
watches
you
them
Planet
on
know?
Hulk is my
Netflix.
favorite Marvel animation. Planet
What?
Hulk is my favorite Marvel animation.
Well, I mean, and it's also worth noting, like, if your story is good enough, if it really is epic and good enough, maybe don't do it as a movie. For example, like Game of Thrones, it could have been like 7 movies. They could have cranked it out as 7 movies and just been like on his ass to finish the books instead of making all these TV shows.
But I think that it works. Definitely,
Yeah, it works a lot better as a series because you
Yeah.
can do more with the series. You can tell more of a story, have more characters, expand it into more worlds, and drag it on for a longer
There
period of
was
time.
something that I had found. God, I can't. I'm really like I can't remember what it was specifically right now. However, it was a film series or at least a film that I had seen, and I said to myself, "This would have been way better as either a mini series or an actual series itself." But they
Yeah.
ended up just making a movie, and it failed. You know,
I
it
feel
wasn't
like
good.
Harry Potter was like that.
I
Like,
think they did good though. Also, the Harry Potter, it's
if
kind of
you-
like you
if
kind
you
of
go
just
back
get
and
into
watch
it.
them now, you're just like, if you never read the books and you try to watch those movies, you're just like, what's going on?
I'm okay.
The whole time
I'm
you're
looking
just
at it. I'm
bouncing
looking
from
at
one
it
point to
through.
another.
I'm looking at it through the eyes of nostalgia because I was watching Harry Potter since the first one. I think 2001. So
Yeah, I was too.
I'm biased here, so I'm gonna
No,
back out of
I'm
that.
like, here's the thing is I loved the books. And I liked the first 2 movies. And from there, it kind of took a nosedive into, I know we got to keep this movie under 3 hours, and there's too much. We're gonna just skip over a bunch of stuff, and the further into you got,
it gives
the more I
people
thought it was
to.
just. It should have been a series. It would have been worked a lot better as a 7-year long miniseries, and you could have seen the actors grow up.
You kind of did in the films.
Yeah, but a little too quickly.
Also, Cassie, you're trying to say something?
Yes, because everybody talks over me. Namely, you for some reason, Wacko, at this point. The second movie actually was better as a movie than it was a book. That is something you will never hear me say again.
Yeah, no. I actually agree with you on that. I really did like the second movie a little bit better than I liked the book. It was more, I don't know, it kind of grabbed you a little bit better.
Yeah.
The second movie, I'll be honest, the second movie is why I read the books. I watched the first movie, I watched the second movie, and then I went and read the series, and then I watched the third movie and was like, oh well, this just went down.
That's what I'm trying to say is that if anything, the films make you interested and make you want to read the book. Also, the reason that I was talking over you earlier was because your mic is really hard picking up, so we'll hear just kind of muffled noises like.
Yeah, I've actually turned you up like 3 times.
Shit, I have a loud ass voice as it is, so
yeah, your mic is not really good. You're at like 80% right now.
You've heard my voice.
Placeholder and I both at 40.
I mean, you both have heard my voice.
And I've had to turn Wacko down to like 2%.
Oh God.
No, I'm messing with you. It's like 30.
Well, you've heard my voice. I'm usually very loud. I'm very loud in person.
Sound is an important thing to me.
Mm-hmm.
When making a good movie. If you're
Oh,
gonna make a
yes.
movie, sound is
Soundtrack too.
huge. Soundtrack, oh yeah, absolutely. Ah,
I think like God, one of
You
my
know-
favorite soundtracks of like any film, and I always kind of like look back at it, and it's just so many good songs and so many songs that fit the movie. Was the soundtrack to The Big Lebowski?
oh, great movie.
You know,
Great
you hear that Bob Dylan song, you know, like when the title hits, and you're just like, oh shit, this is it. This is The Big Lebowski.
When I was in high school, it was the 90s, and our ultimate soundtrack movie was Empire Records,
Oh yeah.
which, yeah, excellent soundtrack. Or what was another one? There were a lot of great like back in the day, you could actually go into a music store because they had those,
Yeah.
and you could buy soundtracks on CD because they had those.
I
And
mean, I live in Oregon,
They still
and
exist.
yeah, I live in Oregon, and they're like everywhere around here.
oh, okay, cool. So
How often have you been to Little 5 Points, Dolphin?
more
Yeah,
times
no.
than I like to admit.
I mean, there's some
I lived there for a little while.
there's some soundtracks that would put like a specific single or song from an artist, like example Soul Asylum from Clerks, you know, for both films actually. And you know, the soundtracks themselves are great, except for apparently Clerks 2 excludes the Smashing Pumpkins 1979 for some reason, which I don't understand why.
Copyright.
Licensing reasons.
I don't. But they put it in the film, but they don't put it on the album, which
Well.
didn't make sense.
Licensing. They had the license to put it in the film and not on the album.
Also, I got pissed off just recently because I got it on DVD, and it was like I'm watching the movie, and then I realized that I had seen that the first time and the first many times that I'd seen Clerks 2, I'd seen the underrated version in which there's a whole like 10-minute scene where they go go-karting, and then they just go back to work. That scene's completely cut out in front of the theatrical release, and I'm sitting there just going, "Where's the scene?" That was probably one of the best scenes in the entire movie, and it's not even in the theatrical release.
Well, I mean, they do play hockey on the roof.
No, it's just Clerks 2.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Can you guys hear me a little bit better now?
It's getting a little like, it sounds a little like, I don't know, like you're throwing your mic around.
Yeah, it sounds like you're juggling your phone.
You know what? Shut up.
Yeah, you're definitely louder now.
So let's okay. Things that do not make good movies. I think we should go ahead and begin to digress for the night on this topic. Things that do not make good movies. Video game adaptations. There has never been one that I have seen that I have liked. Animated live action. So
Tomb Raider.
Looking at you.
Tomb Raider.
Ugh.
I know. Hey, that was
so bad.
No, I'm still trying to think. Like, has there really ever been a video game movie that's ever been good?
Here's my question.
I'm being sarcastic.
Why do video games need to be adapted to film? Video games are a story medium in and of themselves.
There are some video games that I actually would not mind seeing expanded upon in cinema. That doesn't mean that I want a video game specifically turned into a movie.
Let's be real here.
Let's be real here. Their world out through movies.
You know what I would like to see? I'd like to see Bethesda hand over Assassin's Creed to Marvel Studios.
You mean EA?
Or is it EA
or
that owns it?
Yeah.
No, it's Ubisoft.
Oh, yeah, it is Ubisoft. My bad. What did I say? Bethesda?
Bethesda.
Yeah. So, yeah.
No, here's the thing.
Ubisoft can turn over Assassin's Creed and have them just do the story of Ezio's life. Just call it Ezio Auditore.
Oh, yes.
Just that would be it. Like the biography of Ezio Auditore. And
no, they can't make it a movie, or they would either have to make it a movie series or
3-part.
Yeah, or just a mini series.
No, a 3-part movie. It'd be an excellent 3-part movie.
I love the story of Ezio.
Yeah.
So one series that I wouldn't mind seeing expanded upon through cinema, whether it's film or animation, Legend of Zelda. There's a lot that we don't know in that world and a lot of lore that has been touched upon, but not necessarily expanded on. Or Dark Souls, because there's a ton of lore, very little in terms of the narrative, unless you are willing to sit down and read everything. And I mean everything.
I'm a
I
big
think if
fan
we
of.
were to take something that has like a core concept and expand upon it through those mediums, I think those would make the movies rather than just making another Super Mario Bros.
I think that if we put our money behind some of the CGI animation that's going on, that where they mix CGI in real life,
Yeah.
and it's been getting better and better and better and better and better, like really good recently. I think that's kind of the way to go with some of the stuff that you'd like to animate, because it would be you could do more with it. I think if we start putting more money behind this, it's just going to keep getting better. It's going to be like the video games themselves. So yeah, I'd love to see a more fantasy world oriented in that kind of thing. I was arguing when Peter Jackson was going to do the Hobbit what was it, the Lord of the Rings. I was like, there's no way you could do that. They don't like we don't have the technology to make it look real, and he pulled it off. So
I'm gonna say this, and this is probably gonna be an unpopular opinion. I don't care. There's only one good video game movie, and I will love this film to the day I die, and that is Mortal Kombat.
Yes, Mortal Kombat, absolutely, and that's only because it's based off of a fighting game.
And on that note, we're going to point out that we are the Brain Trust. We
This
are
is the
here
last episode I'm ever coming on.
everyone. We are excluding Wacko Zacko from our brain trust. No, I guess you got to have a little rot in your brain. So, thank you, Wacko Zacko, for coming on.
Yeah, it was a pleasure, man.
We come on every Wednesday nights from 11 p.m. We're going to be changing that as of, I believe, April 1st. Moving forward, we're going to be moving up to 10 p.m. We're going to see how that goes. And we hope to see you then. But we are a brainstorming stream. We're always open to anybody who wants to join us with a microphone and any ideas, because any idea is a good idea unless it's a bad idea, and then don't tell us about it. I'm just kidding. Like
and if you respond to my instructions in the chat, DM me on Twitter, I will send you the link.
Yeah.
It's like the exact opposite of our motto. We shouldn't end on that.
No, like the first thing that you told me when I was on here was, no idea is bad, and if you need to tell, you need to, what is it? You said you need to say it in order to.
The more ideas you listen to, the more likely you are to hear a good one, and the better you get at identifying the bad ones.
Exactly.
Yep.
So keep the ideas coming, and we'll see you guys next week.